Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute little pig. It is what I consider a no-sew body pattern, which means we're going to start by making the arms and then we're going to make the legs. Then we'll move on to the top of the head, work our way down, attach the arms, do a bit of the body, add the eyes, some stuffing, attach the legs, finish stuffing and close. And then we will have to sew on the ears and the muzzle and then whatever little bit of embroidering we choose to do. For this video, I will be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 14 millimeter safety eyes. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you, and I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. Okay, I think that's everything, so grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to begin with the front arm, and you can start any way you prefer. I will be doing a knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1, and remember that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to be doing 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Increase 3 and 4. Increase 5 and 6. Increase 7 and 8. Increase 9 and 10. And our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that same pattern all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 single crochet for 1, increase for 2 and 3, and then repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 5, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 6, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 7, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet for 1, 1 decrease for 2, and repeat that around. 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. Row 8, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 8. So 1, decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, and on our last decrease we're going to go in both of our stitches and pull up, and then we're going to leave those 3 loops on the hook because we're going to change to our body color. So I'm going to cut that off, and then you're going to grab your new color, and we're going to tie that new color to the old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it. 3 times. And then you're going to take that new color and you're going to pull it through those 3 loops of your last decrease to finish off that row. Now for rows 9 to 18, we are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. And I'm going to do those consecutively. So that is 10 rows of 8. 8 times 10 is 80. So I'm going to do 80 single crochets and then flip my marker every time I hit a set of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'll flip my marker, but keep on counting. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my marker, keep on counting. 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. I'm going to take our hook out for a second here. Remove our stitch marker. Then we're going to grab our stuffing, so get that handy. Alright, so you're going to want to grab a fair-sized handful of stuffing. I'm going to split mine in half to begin with. And then in half again. And we're going to stuff down into the bottom of our foot. And if you find that this hole is quite small, a great tip I got from a viewer was to use your scissor ends. And for some reason, it just magically goes right down. So I'm stuffing that right down to the bottom, nice and firm, and I'm going to grab that other chunk. I'll just scooch that down in there too. So we want the foot part to be quite firm, but don't stuff it so much that you are opening up these stitches, because then you've overstuffed. So I'm just going to put another little batch down, kind of into the foot and just a little bit up the arm, just so there's something there. You'll see that is quite firm. And then we're just going to lightly stuff, whoop, I got to put that down a little bit more. Lightly stuff the arm with our last little chunk. You may not need all of it. Matter of fact, I think that's maybe more than enough. So we've got the foot nice and firm and round, and then the arm feels like it maybe barely has any in it. And you're going to grab your hook. And we're going to go across 3 single crochets. So you're going to start in the next stitch, and then you're going to go in this last stitch. And you're going to do that all the way across. 1 to the front and the back of the arm, 2, 3. And then you can tie that off. Even though we aren't sewing these on, you are going to want to leave yourself a bit of a tail, because I do something at the end to kind of help secure the arms so they're not flopping around anywhere. Alright, and then now we're going to make this little cloved kind of part for the hoof. This is my first time giving it a try, so if you've done it before and have a better way, feel free to do your way. So let's grab, you want a fair-sized chunk of brown. So I'm just taking probably about an arm's length. And then we will thread that on our hook, or needle, sorry. And what we want to do is make sure we're on the part that's going to end up on the front. So the end that your tail is hanging out of, that's going to be the front of our foot. So we want to flip it around so we're looking at the back side. And we're just going to go in where the 2 colors meet and down out through the center hole. And then leave a little bit of string for tying on one end. And now we're going to flip it around so we're working on the front. So remember, this is the back, this is the front. We went in the back, through the center, and now we're going to be working around in the front. Make sure you're even with the point of your foot. and we're just going to go in where the colors meet on the front and then back down through that same center hole. And now we're going to tighten that up. You're going to have to hold on to this back string as you're doing it. Give it a good squeeze, and then we're just going to go around and around in those same 2 stitches. So where the colors meet in the front and out the center in the back. And then give it a good tug so that stays nice and tight and makes that cloved kind of hoof shape. So I'm going to do this about 4 times. So I've done it twice. That's 3 times. And I'm going to go down 1 more time. So that's 4 times. Then I'm just going to come back up, go in the front, and then out the back where we started, in that same hole. And then now I'm just going to give it a good tie. Rethread my ends. I did take a little bit too much thread, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to bring it down and out the bottom somewhere to hide those ends. And then cut those off. And there we have our 2 little feet with the hooves now. So if you have just finished your first front arm, I am going to put a screenshot in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second one. And if you've finished your second one, just keep on watching and we'll move on to the next part. All right, now we're going to do the leg, and again, you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making a knot with a loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull through, and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of the tail, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail if you need to close up that hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1 increase, 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10 increase, 11 and 12, 13 increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1 single crochet for 1, another single crochet for 2, and an increase, 3 and 4, and repeat that around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 6, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 7, 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 8, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 single crochet, another single crochet for 2, and then a decrease for 3. And repeat that around. 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, 16, 17, and our last decrease for 18. Row 9, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet for 1, decrease for 2, and then repeat that around. 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and our last decrease we're going to insert through both stitches and bring the loops up, and then we're going to leave those 3 loops on the hook because we're going to change to our main color now. So I'm going to cut my old color, and then we're going to grab our new color, and we're going to tie that nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it. Two or 3 times. And then we're going to grab that new color and pull it through to finish off that last stitch of the last row. Rows 10 to 18 are just going to be 12 single crochets all the way around. And again, I'm going to do those consecutively, so that's 9 rows of 12. 9 times 12 is 108, I believe. So we're going to do 108 single crochets and flip our marker every time we hit a set of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Flip the marker, but keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, flipping the marker, keep on counting, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, flipping the marker, keep on counting, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, flipping my marker, keep on counting, 97, 98, 99, 100. I'm going back to ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll take our hook out, get rid of our stitch marker. going to add our stuffing, so get that ready. Alright, so this time you want to like a really good handful of stuffing. And again, just like before, I split mine in half. You might be able to get the whole piece, whole half in, since this one's a little bigger. If you can't, split it in half again. We're just going to shove that down into the bottom of the foot. Just like when we did the arm, we want that nice and firm. So mine is mostly stuffed, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of extra and then kind of a little bit here. And then put this last piece in the top half of the leg. Now for this part, you don't want it as firm, because what you want to be able to do when we close this, you want this to be kind of a triangular shape, so that when he's sitting down, his little tummy doesn't make him fall over. So what I usually do is kind of stuff it on the medium side, and then I don't stuff the last 2 rows. So the last 2 rows have no stuffing in it, but it's a bit, just a little bit, not quite firm, I guess, just medium, I guess is the best word for that. And then we are going to close up the top. We need to have 6 single crochets, but we don't have quite enough, so we're going to do 2 single crochets starting in the next stitch and the last stitch on the other side. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. Then we're going to do an increase in the middle for 3 and 4, and then we're going to do 2 single crochets on the end, and make sure you're going through both the front and the back of your leg. And then leave a little bit of a tail. I don't do anything with these, except I do tie them on the inside for a little bit of security. And then now we'll put our little cloved line in the foot. So let's see, grab again another nice chunk of your matching color. We'll thread that on. Now when we do this one, we want to make sure that our front is going to be on the side. Let's see, when you're looking at it, this is your right hand side, is where your tail is. So this is going to be the front. So let's flip it around. So now our tail is on our left hand side, and we're going to go in the back and down through the center. And if you do this backwards for some reason, it's not a big deal. It's just a little easier to deal with this thread when it's on the one side. But if you do it backwards, we can still attach them all the same way. Okay, so we've got our end in our back, our working thread down through the center, and again we're just going to come up and make sure we're nice and even, going in the center where the 2 colors meet. Just let me double check. So I'm a little bit off one way or the other, so I'm just going to pick one side and then come down through the center, maybe. There we go. Hold on to your back tail and then give that a good squeeze. We want this to go nice and tight, and usually it's the second time around that we get a better line. Just like we did the arm, we're going to go around 4 times. So this is our twice. Now we'll get a good squeeze in there. So this will be 3 times. Yeah. Oh, good thing I grabbed my metal hook. That's tight. And then this will be 4 times. And then back up and through the back. And I don't know if you noticed when I did the foot or the front arm, I didn't pay attention to where this string was, and it was over here. So if you happen to do that and tie it, you can just take your needle. So if you imagine a string was here, you just take your needle and kind of flip it back over to the center. So then we're just going to tie that out the back through the same stitch. Rethread our ends, and then we'll hide them down inside, out through the bottom of the foot. Oops, I messed that one up. So just in that same hole and out the bottom somewhere. We'll give that a cut. Now, if you have just finished your first leg, then I will be putting a screenshot in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second leg. And if you are done your second leg, just keep on watching and we'll continue on to the next part. All right, now we are going to start at the top of the head. And again, you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull through, and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch. That's just attaching our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. All right, grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and for row 2 we are going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 7, whoops, I only went through 1 there, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 6, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and our last increase, 35 and 36. Row 7, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, whoopsie, 26, increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and our last increase, 41 and 42. Row 8, we are just going to do 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 9, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 10, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 11, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. row 12, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 13, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 14, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 15, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and a decrease for 36. Row 16, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Row 17, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 18, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and our last decrease for 18. All right, next row we are going to be adding the arms, so get those ready. And I am going to change my angle here so we can see a little better, and then I will be right back. All right, row 19, we are going to start off with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and you're going to grab one of your arms, and remembering that this is the back where your stitch marker is, so this is the front. You're going to grab your arm so that the strings are facing the front, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and through the head. So into that first stitch of the arm, and then the next stitch of the head. So that's 1 through the arm, and the next stitch of the head, that's 2 through the arm, and the next stitch of the head, that's 3. And then we are going to do 6 single crochets across, and make sure you're in the next stitch because it's really easy to go in the same stitch you were just in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're going to grab your other arm, and again, make sure your string is facing the front. I should mention, double check that this is your front. If for some reason your arm is backwards, you want to make sure that the little divot that you made in your hoof is facing the front. And we're going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and through the next stitch of the head. So that's 1, through the arm, and the next stitch of the head, that's 2, through the arm, and the next stitch of the head, that's 3, and then we should have 3 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, whoops, I went in the wrong stitch. 1, 2, 3. So now it should look like this. Row 20, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8. And as you're going by these strings, make sure you keep them on the outside because that's where we'll need them for later. And continue on. 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 21, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 22, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. Row 23, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oopsie, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 24, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase, 17 and 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, increase, 23 and 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, increase, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and our last increase, 35 and 36. All right, let's add our eyes now. So grab them and get those ready. So what we want to do is flatten our little guy out using the arms to kind of center him. All right, so we are going to grab a needle or something for marking, and we're going to start at our center loop where we began, and that's going to be row 1, and we're going to count down to between rows 9 and 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then just between rows 9 and 10, I'm going to insert my needle or pin or whatever you used, And now we want to make sure our guy is nice and flat and centered. And I'm going to use my arms. I'm going to count over my stitches so I'm in the center. So this one right here. And then we got our center loop up here. And I just want to kind of line it up so that my needle is right in between. And I think about there is good. So I am actually in a stitch, not in a hole. So I've got a stitch here and then a hole on each side. And what we're going to do is count 4 holes over from our pin. So our pin is here. Here's our first hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go into that 4th hole. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So that hole right beside our pin, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then insert in that 4th hole. And then just have a double check. Make sure they're where you want them. I think we're okay here for me. They seem to be just about even with the inside of my arms. So if you're happy with your eyes, we'll put the backs on, and what you're going to do to make it a little easier, put your thumb on the eyeball, push it up and through the neck, and that will give you a nice easy access to the back, and you can just push that back on. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. So thumb on the eye, push it up through the neck, grab your back, and then click that together. And I guess since we've added our eyes a little earlier than I'm used to, we might as well add a little bit of stuffing in there too. So what you're going to want to do is kind of grab around the neck so you don't stretch those stitches, and you're going to stuff the head quite firmly. So you're going to want to pack it up nice and tight up at the top of the head. I'm making sure I'm going around the back of my posts. And then just keep adding. Oh, I took a bit too much there. So I'm just squishing it up into the top. And then I'm going to slowly start stuffing out the sides, being very careful not to stretch these neck stitches. And I do it a lot, but if you can get away from that, it'll look a lot better. Because we do want it fairly firm for when we do a little bit of shaping of the head. I'm just going to add a little bit more. And as you're going around, try and make sure you're keeping it a circle and you're not getting any lumps. So that is fairly firm when I push on the eyes. So there's not a lot of give. And then we are going to stop just on the inside of that neck. So we don't want any stuffing in the actual neck, and that will also help from the stitches stretching. Because when we add the body stuffing, we're not going to go here. We're just going to push it up to the base of the neck. All right, so let's get our hook back in. And for row 25, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whoops, 11, 12, oh shoot, I shouldn't have stuffed the head, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 26, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, whoops, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 27, we are going to do 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 28, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 29, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Row 30, 36 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. row 31, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. And I definitely moved that camera a bit high. Try that. Row 32, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Okay, our next row we are going to be adding the legs, so get those ready. In row 33, we are going to start by doing 8 single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we should be somewhere right in the middle of the arm here. Also, if you are doing this left-handed, you may be doing this row backwards. All right, so grab your first leg. And the most important thing is to make sure this little divot that you made is facing the head and the body, or it's going to end up upside down. And we are going to start, just like we did the arms, by doing 6 single crochets through the leg and through the next stitch of the body. So through the leg through the next stitch of the body. That's 1. Through the leg, through the next stitch of the body. That's 2. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 3. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 4. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 5. And through the leg and the next stitch of the body. That's 6. Then you're going to put your string on the inside. Grab your other leg, making sure again that divot is in the front. And if you happen to have your strings on the wrong end and you did it backwards, you make sure you're flipping your ends in. And if you forgot, you can always come back with your needle and then just push it in the hole beside. So again, 6 single crochets through the arm, or sorry, the leg and the body. So we've gone through the leg, next stitch of the body, that's 1. Through the leg, next stitch of the body, that's 2. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 3. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 4. Through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that's 5. Oh, maybe there we go. And through the leg and the next stitch of the body, that is 6. Flip your string to the inside, and then we should have 4 single crochets left to finish off the row. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to take my hook out right now, and we're going to tie these 2 tails together. So nice and loose, just kind of along the edge of your inside of your body. Because if you tie them too tight, your legs are going to scrunch up, and we don't want that. So just nicely across, do a light tie at first. Then you can slowly get tighter as you go. I'm going to do mine one more time, I think. And then you can just trim those ends. Make sure you're cutting the 2 tails and not here, because I have done that before and had to reattach my yarn. All right, now we only have 3 rows left, so add your stuffing as you need to. I'm going to add a little bit now. Whoop, that's way too much. And then I'm going to add the rest kind of closer to the last row. Although I did get a nice little chunk in there, didn't I? And when you're stuffing, if you kind of pinch the inside and kind of push it towards the outside, so you're making a hole in there, that will help when you get down to your last couple rows, because instead of having to spread the stuffing all the way out, you can just poke it right down into the hole. All right, so for row 34, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6. Oops, almost went in the same one. 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Row 35, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. 1 decrease for 2, 3 decrease for 4, 5 decrease for 6, 7 decrease for 8, 9 decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. Now we only have 1 row left, so if you need to add a little bit more stuffing, and this is where that little hole you would have made is going to come in handy, because we can just stuff that down inside. Maybe I should take that out. Just kind of flip them around and see that you have the shape you want. I'm just sticking my thumb in the hole and pushing it up a bit to the sides, and I am going to add a little bit more. Also, because he's sitting on his bum, you want this to be flat, so you can also push it out. So there's a little bit of a oval shape down at the back of his bum, and that will also help from him tipping over. So I think that is more than enough. So let's get our hook back in. And for row 6, we are just going to do 6 decreases all the way around. Oop, I had that right. So 1, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, 5 decreases, 6 decreases. Caught some stuffing. You don't want to do that unless you're using white yarn and you can't see it. And then you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch. We'll tie that off. We'll leave a little bit of a tail to close this up and sew the hole. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out now. And we're going to grab our darning needle. Thread that on. And all we're going to do is go back and forth through these top loops of our last row. Now, if you're using plush yarn, I like to go about halfway through, then pull it, and then go the other halfway to finish it off and pull it. Just because sometimes it breaks really easily. And it's a lot easier to pull through 3 stitches than it is to pull through 6. So pull that tight to close. And then I'm just going to go in the next stitch and I'm going to make a knot. And then try and go down in the center and then just out somewhere. And I like to give mine a good pull to kind of pull that knot to the inside. Cut your end. And then we'll do these little arm strings while we're at it. Whoop. Shoot. So we'll thread on one of the arm strings. It doesn't matter which one because we do both exactly the same. And what you're going to do is you're going to go down in that hole where your last stitch was, where your knot's coming out there. So we're going in beside that knot, and then we're going to come out the back center somewhere on the neck. Just let that hang out for a second, but keep track of it because you want to know which arm string belongs to which arm. So now I'm threading on the second arm string. Again, I'm going to go in that same hole where my last stitch of my arm, attaching my arm is, that little knot. And come out through the same spot that our other string came through. Again, keep track of this string. Excuse me. Then we're going to give it one tie. Wrap it around the neck. Turn your little guy around. And then we're going to give those a pull, and it's going to bring those knots in and the arms forward a little bit. Oh my gosh, excuse me. So when you're happy with where they're sitting, you are going to tie that more securely. And then we'll thread those back on and just hide them inside somewhere. Make sure if you're using a plastic needle like I am that you're very careful not to force it or bend it. I have broken a few needles that way. Actually, let's change. And I'm just pulling that out because I pulled it in the stitches a little bit when I pulled the strings. Give it a cut. All right, now we're going to make the nose, and you will have to make some sort of loop for this one because we are starting with a chain. So if you want to do like me, I fold my yarn over in half, grab that end, wrap it around my finger, pull that loop down, around, and through, and then I grab that tip of that loop and I just slide that knot up to give me my little loop on the end. And we are going to chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, for our next row, we're going to be starting in the second chain from our hook. So this loop on our hook does not count. This is our first chain, and then this is our second chain. So in that second chain from the hook, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the end. Then you're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to do 3 single crochets in this end chain, and you're going to pivot around so you end up on this back side. So 1, turn a bit, 2, turn a little bit more so you're on the other side, 3, all in that same end. And now we're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 2 stitches in this end stitch. 1, 2. So you should have something that looks like this. I'll grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And we're going to be starting in this first stitch right here. So this will be row 2, and we're going to start with an increase. So 1 and 2 in that same end stitch, and now we're going to do 3 across. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 3 increases around this end. So increase, that's 1, increase, that's 2, and I'm spinning around as I go, increase, that's 3. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets across, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 2 increases on this end. So increase, that's once, increase again, that's twice. So now it should look like this. All right, for our next row, we're going to be going in the back loops. And if you've never gone in the back loops before, instead of coming down and through and under both of those V's, you're going to go in between both V's and then just grab that back stitch. So for row 3, in the back loops, we're going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. So go down in between the V and do your single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now you have a little ridge of stitches kind of outlining your little snout. Row 4, we're just going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 5, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And then we're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch. And we're going to tie that off, leaving enough of a tail to sew this on. So what I like to do is go around twice and then just leave a little bit of extra. I'm going to take my marker out. All right, now we are going to add the muzzle. So the first thing you're going to want to do is grab your stuffing, and we're going to lightly stuff that so that all the stuffing fits inside as none is coming over top of the back. And then we're going to pin this just below the row that we added the eyes. So the eyes are in rows 9 and 10, and we're going to be doing 11 and 12. And if you did the same thing as me for the eyes, it's just going to be the row lined up under the eyes. So let's line this up nice and centered. Between the eyes, and then you're going to grab your pins. And you're going to want to pin in the center. And then I like to go on each side in that same row across. Just double check that's where you want it. I think I'm going to bring it over one more. And if it looks centered for you, then we'll continue pinning it on. So I'm just going to pin on the bottom now, just wherever it falls naturally. I have about 3 rows, 1, 2, and I'm just kind of on that 3rd row, but wherever it sits for you. And then we'll do 3 on this side. Have a look again, make sure it's still straight. And then we're going to start pinning around the sides. So I'll start again in the middle, and make sure you don't have any stuffing showing. You don't want to be catching that on your stitches when you're sewing around. And I'm going in about every 2nd stitch, but you can go in as many stitches as you want. The more pins you use, the more it will stay where you have it, and it won't move around on you. So I'm going to go to the other side. I'm just trying to make sure the nose is just kind of on the edge of the eye here. On each side. And again, have a look. Keep checking, because once it's pinned, you don't want it to move around. So I think that's good for me. If you're happy with the placement, let's thread on our darning needle. We are going to start by just going down where our first knot is, right into the head. I don't know if you can see that. So right into the head, almost under the nose. And you want to keep all your stitches under the nose if you can. And then that way you don't see your stitches. And I'm going to give mine a little bit of a tug to try and pull my slip stitch knot inside. And then I'm going to come up the next stitch. Then I'm going to go down the next stitch, underneath the nose, catch a piece of the head, and come up. Go up the next stitch, and we're just going to do that all the way around. Now you could cheat and when you go down come up the next stitch, but I find doing that sometimes you can twist and pull your nose around. So to keep everything nice and straight and where you have it pinned, it's worth doing the little extra step of going through both times instead of just over the one time. So I'm just going down around a stitch of the head and then up into the next stitch of the nose. Sorry, I think I'm going a little bit off camera here. Then you want to pay close attention to where, oops, I went through that stitch. You don't want to do that. You want to pay close attention to where you're putting your stitches when you get to this eye here. So I'm going just around the stitch below, kind of on an angle. So I want to make sure I do that when I get to this side. And now that we're on the top, we want to make sure that we're going through this line of the head. One sec, I gotta go up here. And that will also help you keep this nose nice and straight. So just up and down. Whoop. While I'm doing this, I'm just going to remind you guys that I do have a Facebook craft page. If you ever want to share anything with me, you can go to my page and in the comments you can leave a photo of something you've made with me. I do have TikTok and Instagram, but I'm never on there. So if you do go there, I do appreciate you going there, but I might not ever see what you leave there. I always try and reply and comment to every single thing I see. All right, we're getting down to the end now where we started. So I like to go over past my knot and grab the stitch and then come back, and that kind of just closes that little gap where you slip stitched. And then I'm going to go back in and find a spot to tie. So I'm just going through the stitch of the muzzle right now, and then I'm going to find one of my stitches that I did to sew it on. And actually there's one right there. It's hard to see because it's the same color. I'll show you in a second. So I'm just in this little stitch right here, probably one of my first stitches. And then that way, when I tie my knot there, it's a fairly tight stitch instead of trying to stitch to one of these stitches on the muzzle. So I'm just going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to go back in that hole right beside my knot and then out the head and try and pull that through so that you don't see that knot. It'll look just like this. Let's cut our thread in the back. And since we just freshly cut this, we might as well do the shaping of the eyes as well. So grab your darning needle and we'll thread that piece we just cut that matches the face color. So if you did do a different colored nose, you'll need to use the skin color for this part, or the base color. And all we're going to do is come down in the center in the same row that we added our eyes into. And we're going to come up just on the inside center of the eye. And I've started going around my eye posts. So I'm just going to bring that thread around the eye and scooch it down. If your eyes are really tight, it's a little tricky. Or if you are doing crocheted eyes, you'll come up here and instead of going around the eye, you'll just go down into the next stitch. So I went around my eye. I'm going to go in that bottom corner of the eye, one row below where I started, and I'm going to match that on the other side. So I'm just one row below. So the same row I just added my nose to, if you did it the same way. Wrap around your eye. And it's not usually that easy. Mine must be a tad on the loose side. So then I'm going to go, I'm matching this first stitch we did on the inside of the eye. Sorry, my hands are in the way. And then come out where we started. And then I'm just gonna double check which one goes to which eye. Okay. We're going to tie that one time. And now we're going to pull our strings and kind of push our eyes in and down a bit. And just be careful, if you do them too close, they sometimes will look a little cross-eyed, especially if you're putting the white embroidery on the outside of the eye. I don't think I have, oh, so see my elephant here, I have it on the outside, and if they were a lot closer together, he would look pretty cross-eyed. I'm putting the white embroidery on the bottom, so it won't look so bad. Alright, so I just tied that securely, nice and tight, and we'll rethread our ends on. Go back in that same hole and out the back. And then we'll pull that tight and cut that. And if you end up with a little hole here, just kind of scoot your stitches around. We are going to be in here a little bit for a couple of things, so don't worry if they're not perfect. We'll try and fix them at the very end. All right, now we are going to do the little white embroidery around the eye. So I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of white. And what we're going to do is come on this side of the eye, the same row we inserted our eye posts. and we're going to come over and onto this side to match. And you want to have about the same amount on both sides. You want enough to go halfway around the eye and then come back up, tie, and pull through. So for this first side, we are going to come just a little over from the inside center. Actually, I might catch this stitch right here. And then we're going to come up in the center somewhere, and we're going to gently pull that eye border around. We don't want to pull too tight or it could go under the eye. Then we're going to thread on our other end and do the exact same thing. So I'm just coming over a little bit to the inside bottom of the eye, and we're going to come up where our other string came up. I'm just going to hold mine a little bit so I don't pull it through, and then gently guide that to where you want it. And if you're happy with where it is, then we're just going to lightly tie that. Mine is sliding a tad bit under the eye. So if that does happen to you, you can always catch like the back of this stitch or a piece of this stitch, and then it won't slide as much. That hole I went into on the side is actually a little bigger than it should be. And then we are just going to go back in that same place where we made our knot, and we are gently going to pull it through the back. So I like to turn it around so I can see what's happening on this side as I pull. And as soon as I have it through, I'm going to stop pulling. So it's through. I'm going to get my ends out. I'll give them a cut. Don't pull it too tight because you don't want to pull those eye things away. And then if you have a little piece here, just take your needle and you're just going to swipe across it. And see how near here again we have to fix our stitches so we don't see that knot. And we might as well put our eyebrows on now too. So I'm just going to come up here, kind of even with the edge of the inside of the eye. And then find my matching stitch on this side. Pull just enough through. I'm going to try and use this string for the nose too. So I'm going to just leave a shorter end on this side. And we're going to want to go about here. So that'll be fine. So I'm just going to go about one stitch over from the eye in the row below where my beginning eyebrow is. So it's going to look like this. Come out through the middle like we did before. And again, you're going to want to gently pull this so you don't make it too tight. And then you're going to match that on the other side. And then you're going to go in this bottom stitch, one row over from your eye, or one row down and one hole over. They might be a little off, so I've skipped one stitch on this side, but I'm going in that hole that I would have skipped on this side, just because of the way the stitches ended up where my eyes are. And then you're going to come out in the same place. So you can tie that off and just double check that they're even. If they're a little lopsided, you can tighten one, make it a little shorter. As long as they're kind of the same angle, it should be okay. And then we're going to tie those lightly. And one more time, I think. And then we'll thread that yarn back on and out through the back. Whoop. So, and again, just like we did the eye accents, we want to pull this nice and slow and not tighten up our eyebrows. So as soon as it's through, I get my ends out the back. And then we'll gently cut that. We'll swoop that piece back inside. And then just double check that we don't need to do anything here. So I'm just closing that hole a little bit, squishing my stitches together. All right, now we're going to do the nostrils. I can't remember if I started on the top or the bottom, but we're going to start on the top. So what we're going to want to do is find the ends where we did our first set of increases. So I have 1, 2, 3 holes there, and this is an end, and this is an end. And I want to go up 1 stitch on both sides, and I'm going to be coming down 1 stitch on both sides from that hole right there. Pull our yarn through, and we want to keep the same amount on both sides. And we are going to wrap this around about 3 times. So I'm going to go down. So I'm basically just going around this first set of stitches. So our row 1 stitches. We're going to gently go around, move our yarn over, go around again, and we're going to do this 3 times. So this is our second time. Move our yarn to the side a bit, and then go around. So that's 3 times around, and then we're just going to come out just somewhere in the bottom. Make sure you're in a hole and not a stitch, because we're going to tie that and put it on the inside. And make sure you pull this gently, because you don't want to stretch these stitches. Now we're going to do the other side. So I'm going down past these 2 stitches in row 1. So I'm matching this side of the nose, and we're going to come up. So this will be our first time around. And whatever way you went on this side, you want to go on this side. So I went from the inside to the outside with my yarn, so I want to make sure I do that the same on this side. So that's 2 times. And then we got to go 1 more time. So that's 3 times. And then out where we started. And you can make these a little wider or thicker if you want. I just thought 3 times was a nice amount. Then we're just going to tie that nice and loose, and then tighter as we go. Thread our yarn back on our needle. And then come back in that same stitch and out somewhere. And I'm just going to come out to the side here. You can go anywhere you want. Just because I didn't know if I'd reach without stretching these or pulling these too tight. So just get that knot on the inside. Fix those stitches if you need to. We'll give this a little cut. Swoop those ends in so we don't see them. Remember, if you're using a dark color and a light color, you want to make sure you don't see that little piece. And this side seems a little tighter than the other, so I'm just going to pull it out a little bit. And there we go. All right, now we are going to start on the ears, and you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing a knot with a loop on the end as if I was making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn and pull up and chain 1. And remember, that does not count as a stitch, that just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you can pull that tail if you need to close the hole. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 6 single crochets all the way around. And make sure you're going in the right stitches because it's really easy to go in the same one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 9. So 1 single crochet, increase for 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, and our last increase, 8 and 9. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 12. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 5, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 18. So 1, increase, 2 and 3, 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 6, we are just going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 7, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 8, 18 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And row 9, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. 1 decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. Now we can take our stitch marker out and we'll close this up. So just like we did the arms and the legs, you're going to go in that next stitch and then the last stitch on the other side, and we're going to do 5 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you tie that off, leaving yourself a bit of a tail for sewing that on, and then a little bit extra because sometimes I tie them out the back just like we did the arms and kind of squish the head in a little bit. So if you have just finished your first ear, I'll put a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second ear. And if you've finished your second ear, just keep on watching and we will move on to the next part. All right, now we're going to add the ears, so get them handy. And I'm just going to show you where I pin mine to make sure they stay nice and straight. So I'm just going to be going kind of across my first row, maybe just a little bit ahead, and I'm going into the the second and the third row. So 1, 2, and I'm in between rows 2 and 3. And then I want to do the same thing on the other side. So 1, 2, and just a little bit ahead of my center hole. Just have a look at them, and if you're happy with them, I'm also even with this arm. I'm going to come down 5 rows. So the row that our pin is in counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're in that 5th row. You want to make sure you're going straight down, and then we'll do that on the other side. So the row our pin in is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just have a look. And if you are happy with it and it seems centered to you, you're going to grab your first ear. It doesn't matter which one. Thread your yarn on your needle. And you are going to come in the stitch just behind the pin. You're going to go around the stitch into the stitch that your pin is in. And that's going to be where the top of your ear is starting. And then you're going to go in the first stitch of your ear where you did your single crochets across. Now you want to keep in line with this pin down here as you're going around. So now we're going to go down 1 row around that stitch, and then into the next stitch of the ear. Go down a row again around that stitch, into the next stitch of the ear, down a row and around the stitch, into the next stitch of the ear, down a row, and we should be coming around into our pin where our pin was, and then into that last stitch of the ear. And I like to go around twice on this bottom one because sometimes I feel like I need to catch a bit of this part of the ear so it's not sticking up funny. So I'm going to go just up here a little bit into this part of the ear, and then just give it one more time. Then you're going to come to the other side and you're going to tie that off in one of the stitches you just made to sew it on. Tie that in a knot. And then you're going to just go down in the hole right beside and kind of across the same row. Doesn't matter if you're off a row or two, but try and keep in the same row and come up in the center somewhere. My needle does not want to come through. And just let that hang there for a minute, and we'll grab our other ear. Thread that on. And just like we did the other one, I'm going to have to do this upside down. We'll see for the left-handed side. So what we want to do again is we're going to go behind our pin, around that stitch, and up through the same stitch that our pin is in. Go through the first stitch of our ear. We're going to come down a row and around that next stitch. In the next stitch of our ear. Again, down a row and around the stitch. In that next stitch of the ear. And I'm starting to move a little forward. I want to be coming back here, so make sure you stay in line with your pin. So I'm going down a row again, around that stitch and into the next stitch of the ear. And then we're down on the last one, behind that pin, around the stitch, into the stitch that the pin is in. Whoops. In that last stitch. And then if you went around twice like I did, we're going to go back in. Sorry, I'm going to do this left-handed for half a second. And then I just went up, remember, and I just grabbed a little bit of the side of the ear. And then again, find one of your stitches. Is that a stitch? I think so. Then you'll tie your knot. I gotta tie a knot there for a second. Come back in right beside where you tied your knot, and you're going to come out where your other string is. So we're going to do just what we did with the arms. So we're keeping track of our strings so we know which one belongs to which ear. We'll give them the one tie. Wrap them around the head so we can keep track of them. And then now we're going to pull those so that the head kind of comes in a little bit. Up to you how much or if at all you want to pull them, but remember it will relax a little bit over time. So if you think you got too much, you're probably okay. And then we'll tie those a couple of times to tighten them. And then we're just going to put those ends in and out the back somewhere. Give that a cut. All right, now we just have the tail to do and then we're done. And we're going to start with the chain. So you're going to have to make your knot with the loop on the end or however you start a chain. But before you begin, you want to leave yourself a little bit of a tail for tying. Make your knot with the loop on the end. And we are going to chain 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now starting in that second chain from your hook, we are going to do 2 single crochets in every chain all the way down. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch, 3 and 4 in the same stitch. And remember not to let your chain twist or it's not going to curl how you want it. So 5 and 6 in the same stitch. 7 and 8 in the same stitch. sorry, it's in my way here. 9 and 10 in the same stitch. 11 and 12 in the same stitch. 13 and 14 in the same stitch. 15 and 16 in the same stitch. 17 and 18 in the same stitch, and 19 and 20 in our last stitch. Now you could do more in each stitch if you want it to curl more, but I wanted it to be a little bit like springy and twisty instead of all bunched up in a big spiral like this. Then we're just going to tie off, and again, leave yourself some tail for tying. Grab your little guy, kind of have a judgy look, just kind of judge where you want it. I like to put mine kind of higher, so mostly just make sure you're in the center. And I am about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm about between rows 8 and 9, but it doesn't really matter. It's wherever you prefer to put it. I'm just going to stick a pin there now because I forgot I need to thread that end on. So just get one of your tail sides on. Decide which way you want it to sit. I think I want mine to curl up. So I'm just going to put my first string inside where that pin is I had, and down a row and over. So I'm just like this. And we're going to thread on our other string. And this time, so our first string's right there. So we want to go over 1, 2 in that same row, and then come back down into this row below and out in the same stitch. So we have both our threads going around that row, and then we're just going to pull those ends in if we can, and then tie that in a knot. Nice and tight. And thread your ends back on. Can't see what I'm doing here. There we go. And then you're just going to put them back in and out. And hide them on the inside. Give them a cut. Now, if you want to give them some little hairs, just grab, I went with my accent color of my hooves. So I'm just going to take that same color, wrap it around 3 fingers a couple of times. Cut that one end, pinch it up at the top, and cut the bottom. And that'll just give me a couple little pieces. And I think I did 3 pieces. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I just want to make sure they're kind of even. And all I'm going to do is go in that center, around the row and up. Try and be as centered as you can be. So see, mine is kind of matching up right between the eyes there. I'm just going to wrap those threads on I don't know why. Too close, I guess. Fold them in half over the hook. Pull those threads through. So it's going to look like this. And then you're just going to grab these threads and come through the loop. Make sure they're all through. And then you're just going to, oops, the ears are in the way. Just going to pull those, and I like to pull each one just to make sure it's good and tight. And then you can either leave them like this or you can give them a trim. I'm going to give mine a bit of a trim so they stand straight up. And then if you want to just tie a little bow around the hair. Now, I don't know why every time I make a bow I have to turn it upside down. And when you're happy with it, I'm just going to cut these little ends a little shorter. Long enough that they don't stand up, but short enough that they aren't down in the eyes or anything. And there we go. Got our cute little piggies. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. I'd also like to give out a huge thank you to those of you that have donated and are listed at the end of my videos as super thanks friends. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.